Welcome to this training on Aurora Workroom Heights. Course objectives. Explain how injuries by falling occur. Describe ways to eliminate and prevent fall hazards in the workplace. Summarize employer requirements to protect workers from fall hazards. Identify various forms of fall protection and scenarios when each would be appropriate. Introduction. Falls are one of the most common causes of workplace injuries and deaths. Recently, the Bureau of Labor indicated slips, trips, and falls accounted for over 300,000 non-fatal injuries and 800 fatalities in a single year. Falls to a lower level accounted for 81% of all fatal falls. Because of this, OSHA requires the use of fall protection when working 4 feet or more above a lower level in all general industry workplaces under Subpart D, walking working surfaces. Introduction to potential hazards. In order to reduce the risk of falls, it's important that you are aware of the situations that can pose potential fall hazards. There are 3 main types of hazards: unsafe environment, unsafe equipment, unsafe behavior. Unsafe environment. Many times, it's the environment that creates the fall hazard. Example, a loading dock edge that does not have a proper guarding. Unsafe equipment. Sometimes the equipment itself creates a hazard. Example, a damaged fall protection harness, broken or stretched. Unsafe behavior. Unsafe behavior also poses a potential hazard. Example, if you do not tighten the leg straps of your harness appropriately and you fall, you could suffer serious injuries. Employer requirements. When it comes to fall protection, OSHA has a set of specific requirements for employers. Requirements include identify and evaluate fall hazards, provide you with fall protection if you are exposed to fall hazards, train you on how to recognize and minimize these fall hazards, train you on how to inspect, install, use, disassemble, and maintain the fall protection, retrain you when you demonstrate a lack of understanding or skill about fall protection you use. The responsibility isn't all on your employer to protect you from fall hazards. You need to do your part by being aware of your work environment and equipment and reporting any issues to your supervisor. Types of fall protection. Guardrail systems. A guardrail system is a physical barrier used along an unprotected or exposed side, edge, or other area of walking working surface to prevent workers from falling to a lower level. Guardrails are required to have a top rail and a mid rail. Top rail must be able to withstand 200 pounds of outward or downward force in the event of an average person would fall against the guardrail. Mid rail must be midway between the top rail and the bottom. Types of fall protection covers. A cover is a secured, removable cap that is strong enough to prevent workers from falling into or through a hole. The strength of a cover is determined by the environment. The strength of a cover used to protect you from stepping through a skylight is different than the strength of one on the warehouse floor being passed over by forklifts. All covers should be regularly inspected to assure they remain secure, intact, and can withstand the forces that may be imposed upon them. Types of fall protection. Designated areas. General industry employers can also use designated areas as fall protection in certain situations. Allows trained employees to do temporary and infrequent work on a low slope roof. Can only be used if the work you are doing is at least 6 feet away from the edge of the roof. This type of fall protection is provided via a warning line and stanchions, which mark the area in which you are allowed to work without additional fall protection, and warns you about the fall hazard at the roof's edge. Personal protective equipment. If it is not possible to protect against fall hazards through modifications to the work environment, PPE may be necessary. PPE is your last line of defense and minimizes your exposure to a variety of hazards, including falls from elevated work levels or platforms. Three common types of PPE are personal fall arrest systems, travel restraint systems, positioning device. Personal protective equipment. Personal fall arrest systems. Used to stop a person in a fall from an elevated work level. These systems consist of body harness, anchorage, connector. Anchorages shall be capable of supporting at least 5,000 pounds per person attached and should be rigid with a deflection no greater than 0.4 inches when a force of 2,250 pounds is applied. Personal fall arrest harness have a maximum weight capacity defined by the manufacturer, which includes the person and tools. Personal fall arrest systems require a rescue plan, which must be communicated to all involved. Travel restraint systems. Eliminates the possibility of a worker going over an unprotected edge or side of a working surface. Basically, this system lets you travel as far enough to reach the edge, but not far enough to fall over. A travel restraint system typically combines body support, like a harness or body belt, anchorage, anchorage connector, a lanyard. Anchorage point must be capable of supporting a static load of 250 pounds. Positioning device. Made up of equipment and connectors that, when used with body harness or body belt, allows you to be supported on an elevated vertical surface, like a wall or windowsill, and work freely with both hands. Positioning systems require that all anchor points be capable of supporting 3,000 pounds. Anchor points. It is important to take note of unsuitable anchor points and avoid them. The following list includes structures and items that should never be used as anchorage points for the personal fall protection system. Standard guardrails, standard railings, ladders, rungs, scaffolding, light fixtures, conduit or plumbing, ductwork or pipe vents, rebar, lanyards, vents, fans, roof stacks, or any item or structure not capable of meeting OSHA structural load requirements. Important. Selection of appropriate fall protection equipment and inspection of fall protection system must be made by a competent person. Competent person, a person who is capable of identifying hazardous or dangerous conditions in personal fall arrest system or any component thereof, as well as in their application and use with related equipment. OSHA definition. Contact your regional safety manager if you need support from a competent person to evaluate your fall protection systems. Other safety systems. There are other types of fall protection systems not used by Aurora team members. Ladder safety system, safety net system. Group discussion. Below are some examples of work at height found at Aurora. Which of these activities applies to your site? What type of fall protection do you use? Walking on mezzanines. Operator order pickers or turrets. Work near dock edges. Use of aerial lifts, scissors, booms. Fixed and portable ladder use. Maintenance activities on the roof. Maintenance activities top of equipment. Which of these activities applies to your site? What type of fall protection do you use? I'll pause for you to discuss. Inspecting fall protection equipment. Fall protection equipment should be inspected before each use or whenever workplace conditions have changed since the last inspection. Example, when a body harness accidentally comes into contact with a hazardous chemical or is exposed to excessive heat. Inspections help you identify and correct problems before they cause any harm. Inspect fall protection equipment. Visually inspect your fall protection from any damage, deterioration, or broken parts. Pay particular attention to anything that can affect the integrity of the equipment, including D-rings and metal components. Some examples: distortions, cracks, rough edges, unusual wear, signs of deterioration. Webbing. Examples: chemical or heat damage, mildew, mold, frays, cuts, broken fibers. Other. Faulty buckles or connections. Missing eligible labels. Using fall protection. Step 1. Getting started. Hold harness by back D-ring. Make certain straps are not twisted. Step 2. Shoulder straps. Slip harness over arms and onto shoulders. Make certain all straps are not tangled and hang freely. Shoulder straps should be kept vertical, not pulled into center of body. Step 3. Leg straps. Grab leg straps and connect to buckles attached to straps on each hip. Pass excess strap through loop keepers. Leg straps should fit snugly. Step 4. Chest strap. Attach chest strap by passing male buckle through female buckle. Strap should be 6 inches below the top of shoulder. Pass excess strap through the loop keeper. Step 5. Adjust harness and fit snugly. Shoulders. To tighten, pull the free ends of the straps as shown. To loosen, push down the parachute adjuster buckle frame. Strap should be adjusted to the same length. Chest strap. To tighten, pull free end of strap. To loosen, push on the strap from free end through adjuster buckle and take up stack by pulling on the adjuster buckle. To position slide keeper up and down the shoulder strap. Back D-ring. Certain between shoulder blades, slide D-ring and pat up and down along the webbing to position. Group activity. Practice inspecting and donning fall protection PPE. Gather all the components for a few personal fall arrest systems and divide participants into small groups. Have one person from each group volunteer to properly inspect it. Be sure he or she explains what he or she is looking for. Ask the group to provide guidance if needed. Let everyone practicing donning the PPE. Storing fall protection. All your personal fall protection should be stored in a designated storage area. The storage area should be clean, cool, dry place, protected from chemicals and long-term direct sunlight. If you see any fall protection equipment not in use and not stored properly, report it. Addressing issues. When damage or defects are discovered on any form of fall protection, report the damage, remove it from service, or barricade the area immediately. If damaged personal fall protection is beyond repair, it will need to be destroyed. In the event your personal fall protection was subject to impact loading or a fall, a competent person must re-inspect it before it can be used. Maintenance work on all other forms of fall protection should always be performed per manufacturer's recommendations. When any repair involves the structural integrity of working surface, it must be done or supervised by a qualified person. If you see any damage or defects in fall protection equipment or something doesn't seem right, report it immediately. Training is required for anyone required to work at heights 4 feet or above, and should cover how to recognize the fall hazards in your work area, how to properly minimize or eliminate those hazards, how to correctly install, set up, inspect, operate, maintain, disassemble, and store any fall protection and equipment you use. You also must be retrained when changes in workplace make your previous training invalid, changes in types of fall protection systems or equipment you use to make your previous training invalid. You demonstrate a lack of understanding or skill necessary to use the equipment to perform your job safely, like if you are wearing personal fall protection incorrectly. Questions? For any questions, please refer to your safety department and they'll be glad to answer any of your questions. Thank you.